So this is CS150 Lab 5, the same origin policy by Antonio Lim C. Group E. So to first start, we have to understand what is the same origin policy. And in a nutshell, it's actually a rule that's enforced by web browsers, and it controls access to data that goes between websites or web applications. And without this same origin policy, any web page would be able to access the DOM of other pages. And this is a big thing because this would allow it to access potentially sensitive data from another web page as well as perform actions on other web pages without the user consent. Okay, and it's not an internet standard, but it's actually a general browser security policy. So being that it's a security policy, it's actually interpreted differently by different browsers and incorporated or utilized by different technologies such as cookies to ensure that there is no unauthorized access. So in this lab, we'll be investigating and playing around, tinkering with this same origin policy to get a better understanding of what it is and how it works. And that's why in our first task, we were tasked with understanding the DOM and cookies. So the first thing that we did was we had to write a JavaScript function that traverses and displays the entire DOM tree for the web page. And so as you can see here, our sample.html, this basically has, as you can see, our code, and you can see that there's JavaScript in there. And so this JavaScript is going to allow us to traverse and display the entire DOM tree. And the next thing was we had to find out when the web application creates the session cookie in the web browser. So as you can see here, right, these two side-by-side images, we used the Firebug extension. So this is actually built in or pre-installed in Firefox in the virtual machine. And with that, we were able to find information about the session cookie, which is over here. And as you can see, the request was made at the start at 0 milliseconds, and we were also able to see that our cookie name is, as seen here, set dash cookie. That's the PHP ses ID, and so that is our session cookie ID value, right? So that's this. And now the next thing was we had to write our own JavaScript function for the web page, or for cookie.html, to display the number of times that the user has been visited, that the web page has been visited by the current user, right? And you can see that in this next coming image. Oops. There we go. So as you can see here, so it for Kenneth, it says that he's visited the page 2 times, right? Alright. And now for task 2, we were to, same origin policy for the DOM and the cookies, right? And so the first thing that we did was we had to provide the following URLs to the web page in the first frame, and from there we're gonna see if we were able to actually access the cookies and DOM objects in the first frame. And the first URL that we used was the soplab.com/index.html. And as you can see, the 2 frames were actually successfully loaded, right? And when the read cookie in the second frame is actually clicked, right, we get this. It says that the same origin policy blocks reading the frame cookie. Okay. So we can see that SOP is working in here. And now for the next soplab URL, it's soplab.com/navigation.html, right? That's the second one. And same thing as a while ago. The cookies are still inaccessible with the same error dialog message that showed. And we tried to use some cross-domain URL, so a different URL such as google.com in the URL bar, and again try to see if we could actually access its cookies and DOM objects. And the first thing that you'll actually notice in this over here in the below the console area is it was denied, as you can see, load denied. So the first frame, which is supposed to actually load Google, was not loaded because google.com does not permit cross-origin framing. So this goes back to what we said a while ago, wherein different browsers interpret it differently and incorporate SOP. So like this one, right? So in Google, you probably get also a different when you're using Google Chrome, you probably get like a different message. Same goes with Microsoft Edge and other web browsers out there, right? So when we did try to access the cookies, we got the same thing. Same origin policy, blocks reading frame cookie. And the next thing was we used soplab.com. So we tried to access a different URL in this one. 8080/navigation.html to the first frame. And try to see if we were again able to read the DOM object and cookies for the web page in the second frame. Alright. And so the frames were loaded, and same thing. When you click view source and read cookie from the second frame, resulted to the same error message saying that same origin policy blocks reading from the frame body. And for the next one, we tried to test them on soplab.com/index.html, and as you can see here, clicking back and forward from the second frame shows that the same origin policy also blocks the history object. So that means we still weren't able to access the DOM cookies. And send request also gets blocked by the same origin policy, as you can see here. Same origin policy blocks the XML HTTP request. And unfortunately for task 3 and 4, we were unsuccessful and were unable to complete tasks 3 and 4. That's all for now. Thank you.